Two of these websites are a scam and one of them is legit. Can you tell which ones? Right now, there is a massive coordinated marketing campaign that is misusing the Bambu Lab brand to rip people off thousands of dollars. And I really wanted to make a quick video to warn you against it and give you some quick tips of how you might avoid getting scammed in future, because this sort of stuff is just becoming way more sophisticated and unfortunately way more prevalent. Let's get started. How's it going, guys? Angus here from Muse. So unfortunately, 3D printing scams are nothing new. I've made several videos in the past warning people against them, but usually they're a lot less targeted. Usually they're just these advertising campaigns that had various 3D printers at rock bottom prices. And if you decided to try to buy one, you'd either get nothing or you get sent something like a pair of sunglasses or something to try to trick you, and that's how the scams used to work. But this latest Bambu Lab scam feels different. It's a lot more targeted and a lot more polished. They are using the Meta platform, that is Facebook, Instagram, and that, to blast these ads out that, from face value, look indistinguishable from the real Bambu Lab website until you look a little bit closer and then realize actually they're a scam. But the thing is, the prices are so good that people aren't looking closer and they're getting scammed. And that's how I got alerted to this originally. Someone did actually buy a printer through these ads, and then a friend alerted me to it, and I decided to dig a little bit deeper. And oh boy, what a rabbit hole I have been down over the last 24 hours. So let's start off by looking at the legit Bambu Lab website. So this is Bambu Lab, and they've got a scrolling banner at the top. Scroll down a bit, they've got the 3D printers, filament, some other stuff. And then they say like what you can do with 3D printing, some places you can find models, what people are saying with links to influencer videos, awards and reviews, blah, 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 and a blog. No one's really going to scroll down to that. Mostly people are going to look at the top, right? And then let's click through to the printers, for example. Buy now. You can get the actual prices for the Bambu Lab printers. So the latest and greatest machine is the H2D, and yeah, 3,000 Australian dollars. That's a huge chunk of change. So I could see where people might be tempted by these advertisements. We'll dive into them in a little bit. But let's just see the difference in prices between the real, legit website and this one. This is not the real website. This is fake. But first impressions, it's very, very similar. We've got a banner at the top, third anniversary, and it looks very, very similar. And again, people aren't going to scroll out to the bottom, but even if they do, it looks pretty legit. They've got, some links to TikTok instead of YouTube. They've got this banner here with a showing how the printers work, and it looks pretty legit, but the prices are where it gets weird. Bambu Lab H2D, $800. Yeah, no, I'm sorry guys, you're never gonna get a 3D printer at 75% off, but they've got all these, social engineering tricks like hurry, sale ends in 1 hour, blah, blah, blah. Only 8 left in stock, 43 people are viewing it. 33 people have it in their carts right now. This is all bullshit. You are never getting this 3D printer for $800. You're gonna get scammed. They'll probably send some like rubbish item from AliExpress to pretend there's tracking or something like that. And normally these scams don't get very far because you just look at the URL, right? So here it's blmake.pro, and that's obviously not Bambu Lab. And if I chuck that into an ICANN lookup, which I'll talk about, my tips and tricks for avoiding scams, it was registered on the 2nd of July. That's like a few days ago. It's obviously not the real website. But what makes this scam really nasty is the Facebook ads. So let me just go onto Meta's ad lookup site, which is actually pretty handy, and show you how these ads are presenting themselves. So Meta has an ability for you to see the ads that are currently running across all their platforms. So that is Facebook and Instagram, that sort of thing. So these are the ads that are running right now under the tag Bambu Lab in the United States across all of Meta's platforms. And this is right now. First one, Bambu, sponsored, unbeatable Bambu Lab 3D printer deals, blah, blah, blah. This guy who's just caught up in the mess, he's actually just selling his printer and paid for sponsoring the post to try to sell it quicker. Bambu sponsored, Buck Katrine sponsored, breaking 3D printer price drop, Bambu sponsored, Bambu. None of these ones are real. Now there is, if I scroll down further, actual Bambu Lab sponsored posts. This is actually the real Bambu Lab paying for advertisement on the Meta platform. But this one right next to it, that's not real. And this is where it gets really insidious, and I don't know how they're doing it, but let's look at the URL, bambulab.com. Okay, so if you're seeing this, Bambu Lab 3D printer warehouse sale, everything must go, bambulab.com, great, okay, let's click that. bambulab-3d.com. That's not bambulab.com, that's a different URL. That's not what the advertisement showed, so clearly they can put any URL they want to sort of spoof the legitimacy of the advertisement, because again, let's grab this URL link, bambulab-3d.com, chuck it into ICANN. That was registered, again, the 3rd of July, just a couple of days ago. And this website still looks pretty legit. I'll admit, less legit than the other one. They don't seem to be using the same template every time. But yeah, if you're just clicking in through this and you're really excited, wow, this one, I can get this printer for $1,500. That's actually quite a bit more expensive than the other one. Maybe they're trying to do it to make it look a lot more legitimate. But then there's this weird statement they've got there. If you only buy the accessories and materials, we will not ship them. What does that even mean? They're clearly trying to make people buy the big ticket items and get scammed. This is not real, guys. Do not fall for these scams. I think it's absolutely disgusting that Meta does nothing to stop these scams. And historically, they have done nothing. I'm actually not even on Facebook anymore. The only reason I know about this scam happening is because I was tagged by some friends telling me that people are actively getting scammed by this. And this is how they're doing it. They're getting these random pages, like here, example, we have this page under games and toys, and they're just calling it Bambu. And whether they're hijacking it from other people or they're parked, I don't know. There's just some AI garbage here before they renamed it. They are making these pages promoted with a text and a link to the dodgy website. So that's how they're doing it. They're just rinse and repeating. As soon as these get taken down, if they get taken down at all, they just get another page, rename it to Bambu or Bambu Lab or something similar, and then make another dodgy fake website. And they'll do it again and again and again. But right now, it seems to be very coordinated. There's definitely one group of people who are making probably hundreds of fake Bambu Lab websites to try to rip you off and take your hard-earned money. I did some digging in the official Bambu Lab Facebook group, and I found a few people have made posts about this, so I'm really happy there is awareness there. But Facebook groups tend to be a bit of a walled garden. You need to be in them to see what's actually being posted. So that's part of the reason I decided to do this YouTube video. And unfortunately, a few people have been caught up in this and have been scammed. And depending on how you pay and how quickly you react, you might not be able to get your money back, or it can be very difficult to do so. So how do you avoid getting scammed? Well, I'll admit, in today's day and age, it's getting harder and harder. It seems like scams are absolutely everywhere with the prevalence of AI and companies just not caring at all who advertises on their platform. It's getting harder and harder to spot. But my tips are to just go back to basics. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And if you have a website that you're not too sure on its legitimacy, dump it into the ICANN lookup and check how old it is. Because if it's pretending to be a company that's been around for a while and the domain's been registered in the last few weeks, that's a pretty sure sign that it's fake. And I'd also recommend using payment methods that have protections built in. I tend to use my credit card, for example, with large online purchases, because it does have some good protections and chargeback features built in, which can be useful for even when you buy from legitimate companies. If they decide to mess you around and not deliver what's expected, you can just hit them with a chargeback and then, yeah, you'll get their attention. PayPal's not too bad, but again, they're not always going to side with you in the event of a scam or a transaction not going the way it should have done. It does suck having that pessimistic outlook with what's going on right now on the internet, but it's just how it is. I recommend if you want to find a place that's legitimate, just ask people where they go and find out good suppliers, good providers. And I do have mixed feelings on Bambu Lab as a company, but they make fantastic 3D printers that work really well. So if you do want a reliable 3D printer, just buy it from them directly. Don't get caught up in these scams because, yeah, again, if it seems to be good to be true, it probably is. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you again very shortly here on Maker's Muse. Bye.